Shalom. If you can hear me and see me, let me know. Let me just pull up another page here. This is Apostle Tahar coming at you live. And this show is going to be entitled Apostle Tahar coming at you live. Take that down. This is going to be entitled, as you can see on the screen there, or the subtitle, GMS live stream, Scriptural breakdowns. And what I'm going to start doing, Most High's will, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Ratazah, I'm going to go into breakdowns, because when you go back to when I first came into the school at One West under the different various teachers, the main teacher, and there were others that taught too. They went into breakdowns, but the main teacher was High Priest Ariah, and he would go into breakdowns, and then a week later he would go into the same breakdowns, but he would switch them up. You know, he might give you a couple of breakdowns on a couple of scriptures, and then a week later give you some breakdowns of some other scriptures, and then a week later go back to those scriptures from the first week and went over it again and again. So that way, you know, it can, you know, marinate in your spirit, so to speak. But what I noticed is you got a lot of different camps. You know, people talk about why there's so many different camps and why don't all the camps come together. Well, if all the camps came together, it would be nothing but a big barrel of crabs. That's all it would be. And you have a lot of pride in Israel, where you got guys that learn a handful of scriptures and then they think they know everything, and then they go out on their own and they don't know all the scriptures. That's why, if you notice, none of these camps have ever did a breakdown on Daniel 11th chapter. Excuse me. Daniel, the 11th chapter, or Second Ezra's, the 11th and the 12th chapter. They never did breakdowns on that. And why is that? Because they were never taught it at the main school. And all these different camps that came out of One West, they all have the same 12 tribe sign, because they learned it from Ariah, and they didn't change anything on the 12 tribe sign. See, a lot of these guys, man, are faking the funk. Like I have to deal with Nate and his men. You know, he's got a big following and he's all over the place. He's doing a lot of things, but you got his guys under him doing classes and they're going off on scripture. Like earlier today, I was watching, where is it? I was watching this guy, Ayafun, I believe his name is, the tall brother in the IUIC. And he was going into, let me just bring it up. Okay, the name of the video, it was put up 2 weeks ago. The name of the video is The Israelites, 3 Unclean Spirits. And if you go about 4 or 5 minutes in, he, and Yahweh Deacon Yahweh is sitting right next to him, and he should know better, because he goes back to the main school. Anyway, he goes into the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter, where it says, and that's going to be one of my breakdowns, mainly because he broke it down wrong, where he goes into Revelation 16, verse 13, and it says, "And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet." Now, I didn't see the whole thing, but I caught the part where he spoke about out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast. And he said he pulled out the scriptures in Ecclesiastes where it says all men are beasts. I'm merely paraphrasing. But the thing that caught my eye or my ear was when he said out of the mouth of the dragon, he said, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs. He said like frogs. They weren't frogs, they were like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon. And then he said that the dragon, he asked the audience, what does that mean by a show of hand? And somebody got up and said the media. And he said, yeah, the media. It's not the media, all right? The breakdown of the dragon, when you read Revelation, the 12th chapter, it tells you about the great red dragon. And that was talking about during the time when Yahushua was on the earth being born, and under Herod the Great, who was a puppet of the Roman Empire, he put out the order to have all the babies 2 years and under to be put to death. Now, it was actually a male child. It wasn't, boys and girls. It was males, but it said babies. It didn't say whether it was boys or girls, but it was talking about the sons of Israel that were 2 years old and under, to put them to death, because he knew that the Messiah was going to make his grand entrance, and he wanted to kill him right when he was an infant. And when you read those scriptures, the angel Gabriel came to Joseph and Mary and said, flee into Egypt, because you had Israelites that were living, Hellenized Israelites living in Egypt and living in parts of Greece, and literally all over that region. You had Israelites who were living all throughout that region, and one of the main places was Egypt. So that's talking about the Roman Empire, and the order was given by Herod the Great, which he was a part of the Roman Empire. He was set up by the Roman Empire. But so nowadays, you have the Roman Empire. When you read Revelation, the 13th chapter, and the first couple of verses, it speaks about the Roman Empire, and one of his heads were wounded as it was to death, and behold, his deadly wound was healed. Well, his deadly wound being healed is talking about this system today. So now that dragon would be what? That dragon would be the leadership of this beast, of this red beast, and that leadership will go back to England. You know, you can put names on them. You can call them the Rothschilds, because no orders come out of America. All right, no orders come from the president. The president takes orders. He doesn't give orders. He's told what to do. The super elite out there in England, they're the ones that set up who's going to be the next president, or who's going to get 1 term or 2 terms, or who's going to be assassinated, or what war is going to be waged next. The orders come from England, from the super elite. Like I said, I'll name a prominent family. That's a Rothschild family. So there's a video called the Ring of Fire, and it's a long video, and they go, I believe it's part 5. They broke it up into parts where they go into the Rothschild family, and they go into the city-states. And they said there's 3 major city-states. You have London, and you have an obelisk in one of the parks in London. You have, and that's one city-state. You have the Vatican City is considered a city-state. Vatican City is a sovereign outside of Italy, man. It's its own sovereign nation, which is with its own military. So that would be out of the mouth of the false prophet, Vatican City, and all the daughter churches. And out of the mouth of the beast is referring to NATO and the EU, because NATO represents the military might of all these European nations, which go back to the ancient pagan Romans. You had the different nations that were European nations that were under the rulership of Rome. So when you go into the breakdown, it says 13, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. That's referring to the leadership of this beast, which is coming out of London, the city-state of London, by the super elite led by the Rothschilds. And out of the mouth of the beast, that represents the military might, which the city-state of DC, that's where wars are waged, in DC, all right? And that's also called the seat of government. That's why you have the president there. That's why you have the Supreme Court of the United States. That's why you have the two houses of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. And out of the mouth of the false prophet is referring to Vatican City, the Roman Catholicism, and all the babies that came from Roman Catholicism, because the Lutheran form of Christianity, I'll call it, came out of broke off from the Roman Catholic Church. The Jehovah's Witness, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Baptists, the Methodists, the Calvinists, they all came out of that mother church, which some of them are talking about they're going against the mother church, but they're daughters of the mother church, because they all have the picture of the same Caesar Borgia, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. It says 14 verse. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keepeth his garments. And it's not talking about the physical garments. It's talking about this knowledge from the scriptures. That this knowledge be in your mind. So if you're breaking the scriptures down the wrong way, you wearing the wrong garments. All right. It says to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Now, when the HODC, the heads of them, they went over there to Israel, right? And they were put to shame. First of all, they came in to go before the Wailing Wall, as they call it, and the so-called Jews, which have control of that land, told them, no, you can't wear no garments. So what did they do? They took their garments off. And then they walked past a point and somebody said, hey, wait a minute, you got to put on them yarmulkes. And they put the yarmulkes on, man. So they made themselves look stupid. You ain't got no business. How is that going to big you up to the Most High by you going into the land of Israel, man? See, the Most High made that turn into shame to you. Because you ain't going to tell them so-called talking about I'm coming over there to claim the land. Man, you know what, man? They would have grabbed you, said that loud enough, they would have grabbed your ass up and threw you in the who's got. Then you would have had to call the State Department to get your ass out of there. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. 15th verse. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And we see your shame, and we brought it out. All right. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, which is Hamagadwan, which means mountain of troops. And that's where this great, as Lahab would say, this great climactic battle will take place. Armageddon is yet to happen. So you got clowns like William Bell talking about everything was fulfilled in 70 AD. Well, he doesn't understand the scriptures. That's why he got messed up when I hit him with Matthew's the 11th chapter and Matthew's the 17th chapter about John the Baptist being Elijah. And I asked him straight up, do you believe that reincarnation is reincarnation? He said no. But then I showed him the scriptures. And then he took down those comments that I made. Shows you how much he knows. Now anyway, let me go. Let me just go check some of the comments. We got 49 people watching. Somebody put in Joel 3:9 with scripture, 3:9 and 3:10. Joel, the 3rd chapter, 14th verse. Somebody put that in. Somebody GMS fishing for elect 144 put in London, Vatican, NATO, DC. Yeah, because the orders come from DC. It's from DC. They set up them generals and they make them heads out of DC. They make them heads of NATO. So you got to be tight with your breakdowns. Okay. Somebody put in dark bronze. What is that? It was at King 12, Zechariah 9 and 6, and the bastard so dwell in Ashdod, and that's true. And I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Okay, so we're like 18 minutes in. Okay, the next scripture I want to go to is Genesis 15, and then I want to go to Acts 7. Okay, I'm going to read it. Genesis 15, verse 10. And this is talking about the vision that Abraham received from the Lord concerning future prophecy pertaining to the nation of Israel, his seed. He talked about that great seed, that multitude, before he even had that great multitude. Okay, it says the 10th verse, it says, and he took unto him all these and divided them in the midst and laid, and these was a young pigeon, turtle, dove, a ram, goats. You know, he did the sacrifices to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. It says, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. And they mentioned the turtle dove. You know what a turtle dove is? If you know what a turtle dove is, put it in the comment board and see how much you know. You see them every day. You don't even know that you see turtle doves every day. All right. It says 11th verse. And when the fowls came down upon the carcass, Abram meaning Abaram, which means exalted father, his name was changed by the Most High to Abraham, Abraham, which means father of a multitude. And the Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, even told him to change his wife's name from Sarai, which is my princess, to Sarah, Sarah, which is princess. Drove them away, 12th verse. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, and that's where you get, that's in your dream state. You know, when you get into a dream and the dream feels real, and then you wake up from a nightmare or dream, then you know you was in that deep sleep, that REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep. Your eyes are moving because you're seeing things in front of you, in front of your brain. It says, and when the fowls came down upon the carcass, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, and a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed, now he had 8 different seeds. The seed that the Lord was referring to of that promise was Isaac's seed, and out of Isaac's seed, Jacob, and out of Jacob, his seed. And that's where it stopped. And that's that holy nation, that royal priesthood. It says, know of a surety that thy seed, which is that one seed, shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and there and shall serve them. This is talking about the Egyptians, which we shouldn't even say the word Egyptians. We should say Martizayim, which is Mizraim. And if you look up that word Mizraim, the word means to bind. So Mizraim is an omen nomen because that was the first nation to bind the children of Israel. And we became a nation inside of another nation. It says, and shall, 13 again. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed, Israel, shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, Martizayim, which means to bind, and shall serve them. And I think the root goes into the word bind. And they shall afflict them 400 years. Because we were in there for the first 30 years. We weren't put in bondage, and then from that, after that 30th year, we were put into bondage. And that goes into the history of the Hyksos or the Hyksos, which are Israelites. So we had rulership, and that rulership was in part through Joseph. It says 14, and also that nation which are Martizayim, Mizraim, whom the world calls Egypt, whom they shall serve, will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. So that was like a reset. And then we went into captivity again, and we went into captivity again, and the Most High delivered us, and everything was reset, all right? Just like 70 AD, there was a reset. And here we are today. We're at the end of this captivity. So now let me go. That's talk, like I said, it's talking about Egypt. So you have, that's not talking about America. Because you have a lot of people, including Nate, had taught this one time when we first went on YouTube, and I did a counter on him and he took it down. He went to Acts, the 7th chapter, and read and said that I was talking about America. It ain't talking about America. It's talking about Martizayim. Acts 7 verse 4. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, which is Abraham, because he went from Ur of the Chaldees unto Haran, down into Canaan, past Canaan, into Martizayim, and dwelt in Haran. It says Cheran here. And from thence, when his father was dead, that was a terror, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for possession, and to his seed after him, which are the Israelites, when as yet he had no child. And the Most High spake unto this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land. That seed was the second seed, which was Isaac, who came back as King Solomon, who came back as Yahushua. And that they should bring them into bondage. Now, like I said, look up the word Mizraim, and then go to the root. The root leads you to the word bind or bondage. So we were in a land of bondage. It says it treated them evil 400 years. It's talking about Matrazayim, Mizraim, or Egypt. 7th verse. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage, Martazayim, will I judge. And I did a video on the cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. And I went into an article, and I even read the scriptures in Exodus about how that gigantic ship came down and knocked off the chariot wheels of the chariots of the Pharaoh, so they wouldn't escape. So when the Most High brought the water back together, it drowned them. So there's articles now, newly found articles as of 2003, that there's actual chariot wheels and I guess chariots and dead bodies that are down there, dead remains that are down there in that regional land, in the Red Sea. It says here, and the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said the Most High, and after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. That place is what? It was beginning with the wilderness, because that's when they had to begin to serve the Most High, and that's when they started to learn the laws, statutes, and commandments from Moses. So that's when they put themselves in order and learned what to eat, what not to eat, what high holy days to follow, what type of clothing to wear, and so forth, man. 613 laws. And then there was laws added to that. Even Yahushua added laws to the current laws that we have. Now let me go back. Okay, you know what? I'm going to end on Isaiah. We'll either read all or part. Isaiah 13. And saying this should be an ongoing thing with the top brass brothers, the apostles, the elders, and the teachers, and the camp leaders of the different camps that are on point, that are in good standing to do these breakdowns. I don't want to, hey, don't let me catch one of you simple ass niggas in GMS doing a breakdown, you going off. You better consult with your camp leader. And if you ain't sure about a breakdown, you better ask somebody. And just don't ask anybody. Don't go asking HODC, because they'll tell you some crazy off the wall BS. You can't go wrong with the great millstone, baby, because the Most High ordained us to do what we do. And somebody put in, who made that nation great? Ham ain't got no spirit. A DTA, this is the spirit. Yeah, because hey, these guys are just. Hey, I was watching a video with. This was put up about a week ago. of Shia Israelites, tried and refined, and they had a little sit down with the GOCC Israelites of Chicago. And when you watch the whole video, the brother in the red shirt, he basically said at the end of the thing, he said, "Oh, we didn't learn it this way." It's like his eyes were been closed, and it's like the brother put the Nazariah put set him straight. All right. So that's telling you, man, these guys will follow a particular camp, and they'll like a particular brother from the camp, and they'll blindly follow him, man. And then when you really sit down and go into the details of the scriptures, when you go into see a lot of these guys deal with the scriptures on a macro level. They don't deal with the scriptures on a micro level, meaning go in and dissect and analyze and break down every word. And that's what we do, man. That's why all these other camps, we said, well, he went off on that, and he went off. And then it makes us look like bad guys. Well, we only trying to straighten the nigga out. Y'all a lady, Ham be braiding, Eve hair tight as hell. Well, I wouldn't know about that. I don't get no hair braids. I don't get my hair braided. I don't get it locked up. GMS, what is it? Judgment is 9. HODC is finished with them damn yarmulkes on their head. You should have said on their damn head. GMS, Vegas, sit downs, HODC, the old cane walking, old folk home. Dr. King. Hey man, you know what, man? You guys, you see, we wouldn't get on you guys if you all you gotta do is just you put the videos up, we make it public. Just watch the videos, man. These videos are open for Dr. James White. They're open for Vocab Malone, and he needs a lot of help. He needs a lot of help, man. These videos are open for the erudite William Bell. This is open to all of y'all, man. This is open to the Black consciousness community. Get out of that Black consciousness community bullshit, man. That's not the way. And the spirit just came to me. Watch, as soon as there's somebody waiting in the wings saying, as soon as Tahar finishes live stream, I'm going to do a live stream, because I was thinking about doing the live stream. Then I said, nah, I'll do something else. And then something else came up. And then Apostle Ramlov did a live stream. So I said, nah, I got it. I'm going to do a live stream. And I called him. I told him, look, I'm going to do a live stream now, since you finish your live stream. All right. Right, what does Psalms 19 say? This is the year to push, right? And I got a new name for 2017, but I'm gonna spring it on you on the January show on the New Year's Eve of Destruction show. I'm gonna throw that new word for that year. I'm gonna give it a title for that year. Okay, as you know, 2016 is the year to push. Right? Vocab Malone needs some milk. No, he needs some Similac, man. He needs a whole gallon of that shit. And Vocab need a pillow and a blanket. Good night. This is Apostle Bar Living Water Streams. Laugh out loud. Or some who said this Hakam Naquam Gabar, if we make it to 2017. No, we make it to 2017. I mean, I wish we didn't. I wish the Most High cut it this year, but that would mean, because everything's got to be done in prophecy. The chip has to be pushed on a mass level, man. That's going to be a major thing. Now, unless they do it in September, they move quick. It's possible. It's possible. And I wish the Most High will come back in this year, man. But I don't think so. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But hey, just getting your mindset, your mind, as Yahshua Wamba would say, your mind frame. That 2017 is going to come in. We're going to experience 2017. But how far into 2017? And I'm hoping like hell that 2017 is the year. Like Maxwell House. They're good to the last drop. It can go down at any time, Akim. All these fools in the world going to be chipped soon. That's right, because they're not going to know what to do, man. Anyway, let me go to Isaiah. Isaiah 13:1. And I encourage you, brothers, to get into them breakdowns. Go do the whole chapter and break it down. All right? It says, like when I'm on the street, I always say I want to break down a whole chapter, and Spirit leads you into other things. But it's good to go into them whole chapters if the Spirit's with you, to do such. It says the burden of Babylon. And we know that this is not talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about the daughter of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift thee up a banner upon a high mountain. Mountains are government, biblically are governments, all right? It says, bear with me for 1 minute. I want to plug this power cord in. I don't want this thing to turn off on me. Although I got some time. Okay, I'm good. Camera ain't gonna cut off on me. All right, it says, lift thee up a banner, and the banner is the scriptures. When we go out there, that's why I tell you, brothers, just stick with the scriptures, man. Just stick with the scriptures. Like Elder Ricard, the GOCC, when he had the little debate with James White, and he was going into the Masoretic texts and the Illuminati. I mean, you can say, well, where's the proof of that? Just stick with the scriptures. Just stick with the scriptures, man. Any information that you have outside of scriptures is something that should be filtered through the scriptures. When you go out there and speak, you say blah, 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 that the Most High didn't come for all nations, the Most High only came for Israel. Now you go to the scriptures. Somebody says, no, the Most High came for all nations, then you say, well, here's the scripture, show me that in the Bible. And they'll look and they'll pretend like they're going to find something, and they'll quote something that's not even in the scripture, and then you take the Bible back and you show them in the scriptures. And you say, what does that say? And then you show them a handful of scriptures. If he can't get it, then you say, look, sir, I don't know if you like wasting your time. I don't like wasting my time, but would you please walk down the street? Now, they might, well, this is a free country. I go, okay, look, you can stand there, but you know what? You're not welcome. You're lost, and the Most High is not dealing with you. And now, if you want to sit there and get cursed out and get offended, well, be my guest, and eventually they'll go down the street. So this is the banner. The high mountain is America, man. The orders are coming out of London, which is that city-state from the super elite, but the nation that's in the forefront is America and DC. People watch this guy, what's his name, Barack Obama, which he's a complete joke. Now he got his father, his daughter shaking her skinny ass in front of Edomite men. So, I mean, that's an embarrassment to him. That's a complete embarrassment to him, man. And people are watching him when he makes his speeches or whatever. Like he's really speaking from the heart. He's saying whatever the hell they tell him to say, man. He's following orders just like everybody else. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Lift ye up the banner upon the high mountains. This is America. This is the high mountain because the super elite said this is the high mountain. But we're really getting at them because they're the ones, the super elite, that are, you know, they say, okay, we got to do something about these different Israelite groups. So they'll go to them, they'll go to American media. And they'll try to, you know, demonize us. Because that's all they're going to do. You go on any major media, their job is to demonize you. All right? So you don't need them. We got our own media, man. We got our own platform. It says, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the noble. So the nobles might take notice of us, and they're taking notice of us, all right? Because there's Israelite camps all over the place, man. I mean, there's all kind of camps out there, man. It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. The word sanctified means holy, clean. And we are the sanctified ones because the Most High sanctified us. I have also called my mighty ones, which are the angelic forces, for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness, because they're in the presence of the Most High, in his highness. Like you say to a king, your royal highness, the king on the earth ain't high. The Most High is high, so he's your royal highness. Your royal highness. The voice of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms, noise of war, of nations gathered together. The Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So he's going to make this war take place, the great war of Armageddon, in his time. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. The whole land is Babylon the Great, which is America. And the weapons of destruction of indignation is those ICBM missiles. Because the only thing that can take this place out inside of an hour are ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles with multiple warheads. 6th verse. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. So this great power, the U.S. power, and all the other powers, they're not going to have any say in this matter. They're just going to have to deal with it, man. It says, and they shall be afraid, pains and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pains, and that's when the missiles are coming through the atmosphere. They're going to see us being beamed up, and then they're going to see the laser beams come out of the ships, the chariots of Israel. And then right behind it, the missiles are going to come, and then the ships are going to leave, and then the missiles are going to do the damage, the rest of the damage. Because the lasers from the ships, the IFOs, the chariots, they're going to do a lot of damage too. They're going to do some major damage. Read 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. It says, they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames, because they're going to burn up. 9th verse, behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. It's not talking about the whole earth. You notice it's talking about a land. Babylon the Great is one big land mass. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Who's the sinners thereof out of it? The Israelites that haven't woken up. Because they're still under sin, because they didn't go to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and ask for forgiveness and acknowledge that they're Israelites and keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their ability. 10th verse, for the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine, meaning that they're not going to be able to figure out a way. The sun, the moon, and the stars, the sun represent wisdom, the moon represent understanding. They're not going to have wisdom, understanding. The stars represent brightness. They're not going to be bright in their mind to like when you see a kid, you say, well, that kid is bright, meaning he shines. So that's what that's talking about. And what did they do in the ancient world? They consulted the Magi, going back in the ancient world, and Esau deals with these different how do you call them, astrologists and so forth, and they consult the stars, man. So the stars and the sun, which is wisdom, which represent wisdom, and the moon, which represents the sun represent knowledge, the moon represent wisdom, is not going to give them a way out. 11th verse, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, because this devil is a proud man. I tell you that in Obadiah. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible, because their might was that sword, and that was the blessing that Isaac gave to Esau. He said, Father, do you have not one blessing left for me? And his father Isaac, which is Yahweh Shai, said, look, yeah, I got one blessing for you. He said, you're gonna get the fatness of the land, but you're gonna do it by the sword. So your blessing is that sword. So everything this devil got, he got by way of the sword, be it an ancient sword or a modern sword. 12th verse. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So we're gonna be the superstars. We're gonna be like the Beatles. When the Beatles came on the scene, you had all of the white girls ran after them. A lot of them were nigger women that looked like Edomite girls. They were running after them. That was all staged, but that's gonna happen in real life, man. We're gonna be the superstars. You know, you got to go through hell and high water to get a nice, decent woman, which is hard to find. But in the kingdom of heaven, and even before the kingdom of heaven, it says 7 women shall take hold of one man, and that's in what is that, Isaiah the 4th chapter. Because when all hell break loose, these women gonna be looking for a few good men, and they're gonna be looking for the Israelites. It says, therefore, 13th verse, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. And what's going to cause it to happen? The ICBM missiles, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. 14, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. And that's happening now. There was an article out about, I believe it was 2013, where a lot of these different nations are going back to their land because they're seeing that America isn't, what they thought it was when they first got over here. Now, back in the 50s, the 40s and the 50s, that, man, You did good. You came over here during that time. But now everybody's moving back to their land, man. 15, and everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So if you got a Jake woman with an Edomite dude, she gonna be destroyed along with her husband and her kids, because her kids ain't nothing but devils any goddamn way. It's a 16th verse. Their children also shall be dashed in pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be scorched, ravaged, meaning raped. Behold, I will stir up the Medes. Now the Medes, when you go into the history, the Medes were a nation that joined forces with the Persians. So you had what was called a Medo-Persian Empire. And that empire started with the Medes, which the Medes go back to, when you go back to Genesis, the 10th chapter, the Table of Nations, as we call it, the Medes is one of the sons of Japheth. So what happened was Japheth was living where Esau lives today in these European nations, all right? So what happened was you had Edomites that pushed them out. So now they're taking the place of those names of the sons of Japheth. So let me read that again. Behold, I will stir up the Medes, which are the Russians. Now, if you look on an ancient biblical map, you'll see the land of the Medes, and north of that is Russia. Because back during the time of the Roman Empire, Russia was like no man's land. It was like you didn't go up. There was nothing up in there. So when guys teach that the 7 heads and 10 horns, and they mention that one of the horns is Russia, that's not true. Because Russia didn't exist back then. So like I said, if you go to an ancient biblical map and you look for where it says Medes or Media, right north of that is Russia. I'll read that again. 17th verse. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. The them is Babylon the Great, or the daughter of Babylon. The Medes are the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Meaning you're not going to be able to pay them off. You're going to do something to make them Russians do something to you. And what they're going to do to you is not good. As a matter of fact, it's terrible. 18th verse. Their bows, which are the ICBM missiles, also shall dash the young men into pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. So they're not going to say, like if you say, well, look, we got pregnant women, we got little children. The Medes are not going to give a damn. They're going to say, look, we're here to destroy you. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, which is the daughter of Babylon, which is Babylon the Great, in Revelation 18, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. This is the glory of kingdom because everybody at one time wanted to come to America. Not so much now. Well, if they do come over here, it's to make money. Because when this place goes down, they're going to mourn because they're basically going to say, look, we're going to lose out on all this money that we've been making from suckers over there. Because this is basically Babylon the Great ain't nothing but a big, gigantic mall. That's all it is. It's all about commerce. It says 19 verse, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, because their philosophy comes from ancient philosophies, from the the Canaanites, from the Babylonians, from the so-called Egyptians. Because if you go to the nation's capital, you go to D.C., you have what's called a Washington Monument. What is that? That ain't nothing but an Egyptian man-made Egyptian obelisk. On your dollar bill, you have, it says, Anua Coeptus, our enterprise is crowned with success. Uh, Norvis Auto Seclorum. What is the success? A new world order. And a newer coeptus, our enterprise is crowned with success. What is the crowning of success? A new world order. Norvis Auto Seclorum. New order, seclorum, secular, world, new world order. And then right in that circle, you have a pyramid. They say the pyramid of Cheops. It says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. How was Sodom and Gomorrah overthrown? Fire and brimstone came down from heaven, from the Most High. So fire and brimstone gonna come down from heaven on this place, but it's gonna come in the form of multiple warheads from an ICBM missile. It shall never be inhabited. It's talking about Babylon the great city. It's going to become the biggest desert on the planet. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. What does that mean? Tent meaning your business. You got a lot of Arabs. They call the Arabs terrorists, right? Cells and potential terrorists. You know how many Arabs live in this country, man? Out there in Michigan, they basically got Sharia law going on out there in Michigan, man. You got a lot of Arabs in this country, man. And they come here for money. All those Kennedy fried chicken and Mama's fried chicken and Texas fried chicken, and they all nothing but Arabs. And they do it to make money, and they make good money, man. Those little shops, some little chicken shops, chicken and pizza, Kennedy fried chicken and Mama's fried chicken. They're open 3 in the morning, man. After you go clubbing, the ones you that do go clubbing, which you ain't supposed to be clubbing. You leave out the club 3 in the morning. You want something to eat? You can there's 2 places you can go to: the diner or Mama's fried chicken. And the lights are nice and bright. You can see it down the block. Oh, there goes the Mama's. There goes the Kennedy fried chicken. Nothing but Arabs up in there. So they're making money. And they bring in, man, they probably bring in 10,000 a day. They're making them Arabs that you see, that you look down on, that you think they ain't nothing. They multi-millionaires, man. It says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, set up a business, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there, because the Bible Belt, that's where you have a lot of cattle. That's where your cattle come from. 21. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, meaning the only living things that's going to be in America are these desert-like creatures. 22, which is the last verse. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons and in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So, you know, we're right at the end of this thing. Anyway, I'm gonna get ready to close, but I want to go to the comment board. Okay, I'm an hour in. All right, somebody put in GMS. Somebody put in them gas stations in Jersey too. Yep, they're nothing but Arabs. Him, he owned a lot of Kennedy chicken. There are some nations that own them. The Arabs and the Hamites, They work there. I know that for a fact. They work there. Their managers there. Them Arabs and them Hamites, they work together. But them Arabs, they the ones that's pulling in the money. Right, gas stations across Babylon, especially where Jake lives. All you see, DTA, all you see is Arabs and head wraps at these gas stations. Moab big on the chicken spots. Well, they're big on them Chinese restaurants, and the so-called Jew sets them gooks up. Like there was a so-called Jew out of Las Vegas. I got to read the story on that, and he came up with that whole concept of them Chinese restaurants. I believe it was back in the 40s and the 50s, and he came up with the names of them dishes, like those dishes that you eat at Chinese restaurants. You think that are traditional Chinese food. They're not the traditional Chinese food. So-called Jew came up with all that, like General Tso's chicken, sesame seed chicken, sesame chicken, egg foo young, chicken egg foo young. They basically it's Chinese food for an American palate. So that so-called Jew, man, he runs everything, and these other nations, man, that are in the know, they living good, man. You know, you got them so-called Jews, and they don't brag about how much money they got. A lot of these so-called Jews are multi-billionaires, man. You know, Jake brag because they got a couple million. Them so-called Jews, if a Jake, and look at LeBron James, how many millions has he made in his career? When he got his first deal with the NBA, it was $10 million. Then he got a Nike deal for $90 million. The first year before he played game number one, he was in for $100 million. So how many more millions has he amassed in the years? Then he won the last the championships, which they didn't think he was going to win. So I mean, look at Floyd Mayweather. He claims that he made in his career $800 million. Well, let's look at Warren Buffett. He's worth $65 billion. What's this other guy? Bill Gates, $50 billion. Then you got the Rockefellers that are multi-billionaires and trillionaires, man. They got old money. The Oppenheimers, they're trillionaires. The Rothschilds, they're trillionaires. Man, they can take $1 billion and burn it up, and it ain't going to affect them in no way. They have so much money and so much capital and so many businesses that they can destroy a business and still be just to destroy somebody else, just to destroy the economy and still be financially well off. But you know what? This man, yeah, Apostle Gabar put nigga pennies. Yeah, you got it. Let's say the nigga bragging because he hit the lotto for $10 million. Guess what that is? Those are nigga pennies. That's all of y'all. And somebody said GMS fishing for the elect. 144 Rothschild 400 trillion. Now that video, Ring of Fire, which is a real long video, and it speaks about the Rothschilds. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch some of it because they go off in certain parts, but the parts with the Rothschild family, they kind of on point. And Bill Still, he used to do a lot. He did this one. Video. It's about 3 hours long. I forget the name of it. If anybody knows the name of it, you can put it in the comment board. And he broke down that whole money system. Then he did some other videos behind that. But he knows about how the financial system of the world works. And he goes into the Rothschilds as well. Anyway, with that, I'm going to close. And look, we got a few more months before the end of the year to push. 2017 is right around the corner. Actually, August, September, October, November, December, January. 5 more months will be in 2017. Everything is moving fast. With that, I'm going to say shalom, stay strong. I'm going to say, blessings to you, brothers, and a few sisters, sincere sisters that are watching this show. You're going to get blessed too. Even though, we hard on the sisters, they're going to be blessed too. And they're going to be, like that term, queens. Our women are going to be queens in the kingdom. Don't get mad at me. In other words, they're going to be royal. The men are going to be royal, and our women are going to be royal, because our women are going to have their own. They're going to have their own maids. They're going to have their own butlers. They're going to have their own cooks, because they're going to be in their own houses. We're not going to be living in a big house. If you got 1,000 women, you're going to live in a big house with 1,000 women. You got 1,000 women, you're going to have 1,000 castles. And you're going to go to each castle that you want to get with. And then you got your concubines behind that. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. End of the transmission.